Good afternoon, RhinoCats. Welcome to ELA with Miss Mary Louise. Today, for our reading comprehension time together, we are going to be talking about some decoding strategies or tips or tricks on how we figure out an unknown word or a word we may not know, we may not have seen before when we are reading. Because remember, the point of reading is to take away something from it. And if we can't even sound out or understand the words that we're reading, we're definitely not going to make meaning from our text. So, very important that we know how to tackle to figure out what these words are when we're reading that we may not be familiar with. So I have a poster behind me that is filled with my favorite strategies on how to figure out an unknown word, a word I may not be familiar with while I'm reading. So I thought I would share that with you. And our goal today is going to be to take what we've learned from our decoding strategies that I share with you today and apply it to reading at home. So I want to challenge you to either find a book at your house or to log on to Epic, our Read Aloud website, to find a book to practice your decoding strategies on. So that's going to be our goal. The first strategies I want to take a look at have to do with flipping a sound when we're reading. Because if we remember, some letters in our alphabet can make more than one sound. So it's important that we know the different sounds they can make. So that way, when we're reading, we can maybe test out a different sound if that one we tried originally isn't working or sounding right. So for example, our A can make two sounds. It can make a short A sound like apple, or it can make a long A sound like acorn. So remember to just flip that vowel sound if you're having trouble sounding out a word with an A in it. Same with our vowel E. E can make a short E sound like egg, or it can make a long E sound like eagle. When I'm saying a long sound, I just mean that the vowel says its own name. For example, if the vowel is A, it says A. If the vowel is E, it says E. For I can make two sounds. It can sound like igloo or ice cream. O can sound like octopus or ocean. U can sound like umbrella or unicorn. Okay, so those are all our traditional vowels, A, E, I, O, U, but there's several other letters or letter combinations in our alphabet that can make different sounds. For example, the letter G can sound like girl with that hard G sound, or it can sound like a soft G like giraffe. Our O's, if we have two O's together, sometimes that can sound like book, or it can sound like ooh, like boot. OW, same thing. It can sound like ow, like cow, or it can sound like O, like snow. And then finally, our Y, when it's on the end of a word, can have a couple different sounds. So we can hear Y as fly, I. It sounds like the letter I. Or we can hear happy, E. We hear the Y sound like an E at the end of a word. So all great things to be aware of when we're reading, that letters can make more than one sound. Flip it if it's not making sense when you're reading. Just to continue on with our vowel tips and tricks, we know that when we see two vowels together or two vowels go walking, the first one does the talking and it says its own name. So for example, if we see the word seat, S-E-A-T, it has E-A, which is a vowel combination, it's a vowel team. And when they're together, usually the first vowel is going to do the talking, or we're going to hear that vowel and that vowel only. So we hear eat, eat. We hear that long E sound. Another tip for our vowel sounds, bossy E. Bossy E. If we see an E at the end of a word, it may make the vowel say its own name. So for example, if we see cube, C-U-B-E, this E is going to make the U in the first part of cube say its own name. Say you, cube. So a lot of times bossy at the end of a word makes the vowel say its own name. Okay, so a couple tricks and tips for our vowels there. A couple more strategies, guys. Know that when you see ed at the end of a word, it can make more than one sound. So if you see ed at the end of a word, it may make a t sound, it may make a d sound, or it may make an ed sound. For example, the word baked has ed on the end, but we just hear t, baked. Waved, we just hear d at the end. But melted, we hear ed at the end. Melted. So make sure that when you see ed, you're trying all those different sounds. T, d, or ed. A couple more strategies for you guys, and then I'll send you off to try this on your own. Rhyming words. If you see a word that has the same ending of a word you already know, try it out. It may rhyme, it may be the same ending sound, like brown and town. Another great tip, chunky monkey. Chunk a word or put it into smaller parts or pieces to sound it out. So break down words like doing, doing, or important, important. So sound out small chunks of the word. That way it may be easier to get it, to sound it out. Another tip, look at picture clues. If you can't figure out what's going on and a book has pictures, great strategy is to look at the illustrations. What are they telling us? Another strategy, cover the ending of a word. So we learned earlier that words can end in ed, they can end in ing, right? If you know the base word, right? So if we don't know this whole word, but we know that spell spells spell, maybe we can guess what the ending sound is like. Spelled, spelled. A couple more, skip the word. If you don't know it, guys, skip over it and come back to it. Stretch out the word like a stretchy snake. So really sound out all the sounds, each letter or letter combination, sound that out. Like the word mother, sound it out, stretch it out. Fish lips. I know this is kind of silly, but it's just getting your mouth ready to sound out the words. So make sure that your mouth is ready to make those sounds, right? You can even make it fun, make it silly. And finally, guys, reread the sentence, okay? If you're struggling to get a word, go back, try it again. Maybe you've missed something and maybe you'll understand it a little better or get it if you just go back and try it again. All right, guys, I hope this was helpful. I know this was a lot of information. I hope you are going to take what works for you and apply it to your reading. So tons of tips and strategies for sounding out or identifying a word you may not be familiar with while you are reading. So your assignment today, guys, is to read a story, read a text, and try out these decoding strategies, whether that's a book at home or on Epic. Go read, apply these strategies, and be a better reader. Good luck, guys.